Hi, I'm Megan from Our Handcrafted Life. Today we're going to make a decorative wreath and we're going to turn it into giant wall art. I love the look of greenery and of wreaths, and I wanted to buy a really big wreath for our house, but when I looked online they were like $50, $60 or more, so I decided that I could probably make one for a little bit less than that. So I'm going to go ahead and make a wreath using some greenery garland, a grapevine wreath, and some zip ties. I've got 8-inch zip ties and 4-inch zip ties here. We'll see kind of what works best with this particular greenery. So I got this greenery garland at Hobby Lobby and they're $20 a piece, but if you go when it's half price on all of their greenery, or if you go when you have a coupon, you can get them for about $10 a piece. And I actually went when it was half off greenery, and then I had my 50% off coupon to use on my grapevine wreath, which was only $8. This is the 25-inch version, but it was only $8, so this whole wreath is going to cost me $24. I love the look of this particular greenery stem. What you're looking for when you're looking for faux greenery is that it just doesn't look too fake. You don't want it to look like plastic greenery. You want it to look like it could be real. And I got 2 of them. You can see when you wrap them around once, it looks fine. It doesn't look bad, it just looks a little sparse. But if you add 2 pieces of the garland, it looks really nice and full. And you kind of arrange one towards the inside of the wreath and then one more towards the outside of the wreath. And they all have these little hanging hooks on the end. You just want to make sure that you put those in different places. So 2 of them are down on this side and then the other 2 are over on this side. And you're going to tuck them under the wreath, of course. And then I'm just going to use zip ties. I'm going to find kind of the main stalk of the greenery and then find a main stem of the wreath, of the grapevine wreath. You want to make sure you're not going through like a stick that's kind of sticking out of the end, because then it's going to break off and your wreath will fall apart. But if you can kind of get down and into the main part of the wreath, you can find some stockier stems. So I wound up using the 8-inch zip ties for some key points around the wreath, and then I just use these little 4-inch zip ties to kind of anchor points in between those bigger points. The next thing I'm going to do is use a pair of scissors to trim off the tails of the zip ties. So the next part of this project is turning this wreath into a piece of giant wall art. Of course, if you just want a wreath, then you can go ahead and stop here and you can hang the wreath on your front door, you can hang it over your mantle, really wherever you want. But I have these giant walls. They have really tall ceilings, they're really wide and empty. So I needed something to fill the space a little bit more than just the wreath on its own. So I'm going to make this into a really simple piece of DIY art. The first thing that I have are these 2-foot by 3-foot canvases, and I have 2 of them. We just screwed them together. We've had these for a really long time. I think they were actually in our first house 9 years ago, if you can believe that. They have tons of layers of paint on them and everything, and they just needed a new life. So I decided they would be the perfect size backdrop for this project. And I just picked up some fabric at Hobby Lobby. I wanted mine to be light and bright, so we're going for that, farmhouse, super light and airy feel in our living room, and I knew that the background of this fabric had to be light and airy in order to accomplish that. I found this gray and white ticking stripe fabric at Hobby Lobby, and we're just going to staple it on the back of these canvases. on the corners of the canvas, you just want to tuck in one corner and then pull it around like you're wrapping a present so that it doesn't have extra bulk on the corners. You've got a nice clean finish. Okay, let's flip it over. I folded a piece of burlap fabric, but if you have a piece of burlap ribbon or something else that you'd like to use to hang your wreath from, totally use it. No problem, doesn't really matter. And I had kind of a blank spot at the wreath up here at the top, just a spot that wasn't quite as full, so I picked that spot to hang my wreath from so that the burlap can kind of cover a little bit of the hole. So I just made sure not to get any of my greenery underneath of my burlap. I'm just going to take it and staple it on the other side of the canvases. Thanks for watching this tutorial about building a DIY wreath and turning it into a piece of giant wall art. I love how it turned out. I love that it fills the space, but it's also really classic, pretty neutral, so it can go with a lot of design styles. I also really love that even if I decided to change up the art on this wall and go in a different direction, I can still use the wreath anywhere else in my house. I could decorate it for a different season or just use it as is. It's a really great piece of basic home decor that can go with just about anything. If you have any questions, just leave them in the comments below and I'll be happy to answer them. And if you haven't already, if you're new here, subscribe to our channel. We would love to have you hang out for videos about living simply and creating beautiful things. Okay, we'll see you next time. Bye.